easy to see when you look at me. This black It's easy to see when you look at me. This black cat ain't just backing down. One thing, homie, if you don't know me, SEO, I'ma always hold the crown. You're trying to play clean, just leave the scene. It ain't too late, better pack it up. You just gotta ask if you don't know me. Just know one thing, I ain't backing down. Any living thing that cannot coexist must cease to exist. It's a rap, yeah, that's it. Got a lot of tough talk for someone still on that government cheese. You still ain't got what you need. I think you done went crazy. I let your ass into my world and you popped up just like a daisy. Gave you a hand up instead of a handout. You must be sober and bored, looking for some clout. Every time you go to your little crew, you block me just like a little punk. Dude, you still ain't even manned up. Mad about some fucking timestamps. Dude, shut the fuck up, you fucking dweeb. All you do is rank them long tail keywords. I know this must be a prank. That's why you been labeled Spam King of the Year. No worries, cause a real black cat is here. It's easy to see when you look at me. This black cat ain't just backing down. One thing, homie, if you don't know me, SEO, I'ma always hold the crown. You're trying to play clean, just leave the scene. It ain't too late, better pack it up. You just gotta ask if you don't know me. Just know one thing, I ain't backing down. I come at you with my black hat and shovel in my hand like the Grim Reaper to bury your ass. I size your body up and put some white chalk around it. Yeah, now let's talk about being grounded. You bitch about me, stealing your method when your dumb ass just gives it away. If it not, use a Pop-Tart, sweetheart, you're soft in the middle. So stop acting hard, cause you weak and you brittle. I'll eat your hate for breakfast, now that's a good start. You have no history and you ain't even smart. You never ranked anything of value, nothing, never. So stop fronting, man, you ain't even clever. I put you out there and now you think you a big shot. Remember where you come from in case you forgot. What's given can be taken away. I ain't mad at you, I'm logging out, have a nice day. It's easy to see when you look at me. This black cat ain't just backing down. One thing, homie, if you don't know me, SEO, I'ma always hold the crown. You're trying to play clean, just leave the scene. It ain't too late, better pack it up. You just gotta ask if you don't know me. Just know one thing, I ain't backing down.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a while since I've been live. We're gonna have Julian Goldie on today. Give me 1 second, and we'll get that all set up. If you haven't been paying attention, we got the World of Search. We're going to be doing here in Manila. Give me 1 second, Julian. I'm going to try to get this right. It does this. There we go. Almost every time. So got World of Search coming up. So we got Julian. He's one of our speakers there. World of Search Manila is going to be September 23rd, 24th. Biggest SEO conference in Manila in the Philippines that has ever been here. We're expecting about 500 plus people. Got Julian, he'll be here. Got Matt Diggity, Mad Singers, Chris Palmer, Craig Campbell, myself, Kirk, about 20-something other people will all be here. Speakers, we got Charles Float coming in as well. But something you don't want to miss, if you haven't registered, go to the SEOmovement.com to register. But kind of wanted to introduce you to the different speakers. And Julian will be speaking. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what does Julian do and introduce you guys to him. And if you have any questions, just drop them below in the chat. If you're on Facebook, I'm not going to see who your name is or nothing. It's just going to say Facebook user. But if you're on YouTube, it'd be better to go to YouTube because then I can actually see who's actually commenting. And this replay will be up on YouTube, but as well as inside the Facebook groups and everything. So where are you located at, Julian? Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're located at, how you came into SEO and that sort of thing.
Sure. So I'm located in Bangkok, Thailand right now. Originally from England, Manchester. And I got into SEO about 7 years ago. Basically what happened was, well, I had a few different jobs, got fired from them all. Wasn't a great start. So after that, I started looking for opportunities, and me and my best mates, we said to each other, right, let's do a holiday in Thailand, see what it's like. Had a great time, but when we came back after 2 weeks, we had the holiday blues big time back in England. If you ever been, you already know, bad food, bad weather. Our national
I
dish
went
was
to London for my first time. It was last year in October, and it was raining like constantly, just out of nowhere. It just starts raining and stuff like that. Gloomy weather, stuff like that. I know Craig talks about it quite often. He's like, what in the hell is this type of weather? Like 1 minute it's
exactly.
hot as shit, and the next moment it's freezing. And he does get sick quite often because of it and stuff. But nevertheless, so you heard of SEO prior to going to Thailand? Were you going to Thailand to meet up with Matt or the SEO community out there? Because there is a very strong presence of SEO community out there.
Yeah, there is a big community out there. Honestly, I didn't really start meeting the community properly until I would say about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
When I really integrated into the community and met everyone in there. But previous to that, I knew about SEO. I knew that it was a way to move forward. And actually, the first sort of job I had online was writing articles for $5 a pop. So
Where did you start at? Was it on like Upwork or Fiverr or any of that? Upwork, okay.
started on Fiverr, and then moved on to Upwork afterwards.
Uh-huh.
And so, I mean, I must have been working for less than $5 an hour back then.
Well, I started back in the day, whenever long time ago. We would make backlinks, and I'd actually set them up on eBay.
Wow.
So I'd sell backlinks on eBay.
I don't have that sales channel yet. I need to set it up.
Yeah, I did that for a while, and then I'd sell things through PayPal and stuff like that. And then got into Fiverr a little bit, but developed our, put everything of ours on WooCommerce and stuff. But that's interesting. So you started doing articles.
Yeah, started doing articles, and then I was writing for my own website to show clients, like, this is what my writing's like. And I would spend hours every single day just writing for my own site. But the problem was it wouldn't rank at all. It wasn't getting any traffic at all. And I was like, why is that? Quite a difficult niche. It was in the finance niche. And then that's when my friend started teaching me link building and link building outreach.
Uh-huh.
So when I got into that, then we started finally getting some traffic, started getting some backlinks to the site, the authority increased. I was like, well, this works so well for my own site, and I could probably sell that for a lot more than I'm making on Fiverr right now.
Yeah.
So from there, started building links, and 7 years later, we've got over 100 clients at our link building agency, 50 people working for it. So
that's where most people are kind of like, when they want to know how to get started, like how to get started. And I told people, like, I've done free work. I've done free work for websites. I've done free work for SEO, to build up your case studies, to build up your portfolio. Or a lot of times, it's like they look at you now and they go, well, surely you were never on Fiverr. Surely you were never on Upwork. Surely you were never on Legit or any of these other places. And then when you tell them, they're like, no, it's impossible, because they see, the success and stuff, and they just think almost not that it was handed to you a lot of times, but there's no quote unquote work. I mean, there's work involved, but not like the struggle like most people think of. Like, to go from making $5 an article to probably where you're at now, where you got 100+ clients and 50 something people working with you and stuff, is totally different. So,
yes.
if you could tell me, and I like to ask this for anyone that runs an agency, is like, what's the number one mistake you think you made in building your agency? And what was the best lesson that you probably learned in building your own agency? Because it is vastly different than being a freelancer, as I'm pretty sure well know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's totally different. I mean, there's a big difference, first of all, between being a freelancer and just doing the work, or operating a business and building it, because these are two different skills, right?
Yep.
Such a vast degree. But I guess one of the biggest mistakes that I made was probably when it comes to hiring. So I didn't, and this goes so deep, I would say, when it comes to hiring. Like if you have one A player, it's literally worth about 5 or 10 B players.
Yeah.
And we've had situations where as soon as we get the right hire in, the right person in, we move 5 to 10, sometimes 15 times faster than we would have done. And when you compound that over years, you're literally moving like 10 years faster than you would have done previously. So I've made some.
It's finding your A players. Now, what's the biggest tip? Because this is where I have a friend named Daniel Jones, and one of the things he says all the time, because we have another agency, Outsource Sharks. Outsource Sharks, for example, is different than Rank Fortress. Rank Fortress SEO agency. Outsource Sharks is strictly VA agency, managed VAs. Daniel, he does VA placement. And one of the things he tells people, everybody comes on, they want A+ players. And he says, the problem is everybody wants A+ players, but they're not an A+ business owner. So how did you personally go about finding an A+ player? When you go and you find, let's say out of 50 people and you find an A+ player, how did you stumble upon them? Is there a process you developed? Is there a way that you test them to see, hey, they actually know what the hell they're talking about? Because a lot of these people will say, oh yeah, I know link building. And then you find out, you get the resume and they say they work for this, work for this, work for this. They didn't work for none of these people. Mm-hmm. And they're just trying to get a chance to work with Julian, Goldie, or myself. And they're hoping you'll teach them a lot of times.
Yeah. And that's a big issue as well, because when someone, even, you've probably had it all the time where people come after you and they're like, right, I'll work for you for free.
Yeah, a lot.
But but they want you to personally spend 6-8 hours a day training them. And
correct.
And there's no value exchange there at all, really. So that's difficult. But when it comes to hiring the right people, I mean, it's something I'm definitely not a master at. I'll be 100% honest. But it's something that I think you just refine as a skill and you get better and better at. Mm-hmm. And also, people are very unpredictable.
Yep.
Right? Like, I've met some people who are so good at talking, but when they actually get to doing the job, it's very different, and vice versa. I've had some people who I'm not so sure about, and then they start, and you're like, wow, this person is incredible. So, first of all, you're going to start with refining the job ad, making sure you've optimized that to appeal to the right people. And then when you put this job ad out, you need a really good application system that automates a lot of the manual selecting you were doing previously. Mm-hmm. So if you can, whether it's in your application form, whether it's a test inside the job ad to make sure people have actually read it.
Okay.
You need some way of like filtering out those people very quickly.
One of the things we used to do, for example, we go into the Facebook groups and we'd post the ads and stuff. And I would specifically say something like, using the subject line, Winnie the Pooh. And then people would be like, why the hell would you say use something like Willie the Pooh or Willy Wonka or any of that stuff? It's because I want to see if they're paying attention, because that will filter out a lot of the people that do not pay attention to details and stuff. So one of the key things that you did say, and it's one of the things I teach a lot of like my students is, and when people ask me about building an agency at scale, because not a whole lot of people, like how many employees do you say you have?
So we've got 50, some of them are part-time, but.
Yeah. So about 50 people. Number one, that is a pain in the ass to manage. We do manage it. The biggest thing that has helped us in our agencies, Outsource Sharks, as well as Rank Fortress, is we brought in mad singers who teach us specifically management skills, because most of us start, and I'm sure you started, you didn't start this going, oh, I want a big company, I want to run a business. You just want to make some damn money.
Exactly. Yeah.
But in the process, you go, okay, well, I'm actually successful. And now you got to develop skills of leadership, etc. And learn how to run a business, learn how to manage people. But one of the things you did say, which is my same experience, is like, well, how did you become a successful agency? Is We built an agency, a system, and we broke it, and we tweaked it, and we broke it again, and then we tweaked it again, and we broke it again, and you keep going through this refining process. And I've had people say, can't we just skip all that and just go straight to the success part? And I'm like, I haven't even reached, if you will, the part where we don't go through that, because we go through it, changes every year. There are times as an agency owner, you just go like, I don't even want to build an agency anymore. I just want to get rid of the agency, because you go through ups and downs and stuff. It's never just smooth sailing, which is what most people think of when they see someone. You got 50 employees, and then they'll say, Julian, that's amazing. But they also probably don't hear the other stuff you go through. Now, with link building, we don't do a whole lot of it. So I'm always kind of interested, especially now with AI, to hear what, how you're using it, how you're doing it. We do some black hat link building, but that's not this what everybody assumes is black hat spammy backlinks. That is not black hat backlink building. But that's generally what people think of. So how you got into link building, how are you using it with the, revolution of, if you will, artificial intelligence? Are you, there's so many questions people have. Like, for example, are you seeing AI as being as effective in link building and in content and SEO? What do you see happening? I know I've seen a lot of your content lately has been focused around AI.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, so at the minute, if you look at my YouTube videos, you'll see a lot of case studies that we run where we test different styles of building AI content, and also not just in creating the content, but speeding up the workflows. Because obviously you can create an article with ChatGPT or Jasper or Autoblogging AI, but you can also improve a big part of the systems that come with that as well. So for example, when you're preparing content like keyword research, competitor research, content outlines, these are all things you can save a lot of time on if you know how to leverage AI properly.
So the key word there is leveraging it versus what most people think is that AI is going to replace all human beings and be like the Terminator. And the reality
Not yet. Yeah.
It's there to, in my opinion, it will replace people, but it's going to replace people that suck as is. And
yeah, I think the main thing is it comes down to the person using it, right? Like if you have trained your brain to be able to understand how to leverage AI and engineer it to do the hard work for you, then it can be extremely powerful. But if you give someone who doesn't understand how AI works and all the systems around it, then what they achieve is not that much, right? It's all about the person that uses it and how you use it and the creative ways that you can leverage it.
So like this one right here, developing EAT and SEO. I don't want to butcher his name, but he just came out with a course. He was there in Mad Singers conference in Saigon, and he had a course that's on topical relevance and everything.
Corey.
Yeah, Corey. And thank you. And then there's another AI tool I'm looking at, for example, where you can literally take, and he builds out the whole, if you will, roadmap for you. And it's like 1,000 different topics.
So I'll give you an example, right? Yesterday, just published 2 videos yesterday and today. I bought a domain, brand new, fresh off the bat, bought it, set up the hosting, did all the keyword research with AI with a combination of ChatGPT, Ahrefs, and Bard. And then today had 800 articles published onto this website, ready to go.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's the one. He said 800 blog posts in 24 hours. That's insane.
It's outrageous.
So, and this is where, because a lot of the questions we'll get, especially like in GMB Pros and the classes we have, is does AI content still rank? And I'm pretty sure your answer is going to be yes.
Absolutely. The only problem that you can face is if you have no manual editing process in there, if you don't optimize it for humans as well, not just Google's algorithm. And the problem is, people land on the page, it's not going to capture their attention. It's not really going to provide that much value outside of just a featured
Just a
snippet.
random content thrown on a website.
Exactly. So
Most people in SEO don't think of that anyways. They think of, I want to rank this page for this keyword, and they don't think about, well, click-through rate, click-through rate manipulation is very different than click-through rate. And I'm trying to grab someone's attention with meta description, meta title. I'm trying to grab their attention to actually take an action whenever they're on the website, whether that's watching a video and staying on it much longer, whether that's asking for a PDF, or whether that's asking for a consult, or whatever it is. All those things help your, if you will, your CTR or CRO.
yeah, this
Click-through rate optimization, which is what a lot of them do not do. So
100%.
it's very true.
And then also, there's two big problems, because when people land on the page, if people just bounce straight off, right? If that content doesn't grab their attention, like you say, then Google sees that as an on-page metric, and it sees people just pogo sticking off your website, aka just leaving within a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then your rankings are going to drop because your competitor has content that actually engages people and encourages them to scroll all the way down. The other issue that I'd say is you really have to optimize for conversion rate optimization, right? So like you say, it doesn't matter how much traffic you get. It doesn't matter whether you rank for that keyword. It matters how much money you make out of that page.
Bingo.
What's the net extraction? So
yeah, I'll see people all the time. They post, it's like, I get 3,000 whatever, keywords where they're being, the Google's picking them up and they're being seen, but then the click-through rate is like 0.1%. It's like, that's an atrocious, bro. Atrocious. I mean, you're proud of the fact that you got ranked for 3,000 keywords, but it's only been, no one's clicking on it. So I know you're not making no money. I mean, so
absolutely.
But so you're definitely using AI. You're using a couple of tools you mentioned, and it definitely ranks. Like yesterday, in the past 24 hours, you got 800 new articles on a website. Can you go over a little bit how that process looks? Because I know you're not just taking AI content, slapping it on a website. You're actually going through some optimization. What are your favorite tools regarding optimization or on-page optimization besides the actual SEO? Is there any tools that you're actually using that you favor?
So for me, I've always liked Phrase.io. I think it's a great tool, not just for creating content, but also for optimizing your old content, because if anyone's not familiar with Phrase, basically what it does is you type in your keyword, and then kind of like Surfer SEO as well.
Yep.
It reverse engineers what's ranking on the first page of Google, gives you an idea of the links you need, images, how much content to create, word count, who you need to link out to, and then you've got all the answers, right? And you can already get that data for free, but it would take you hours to figure that out yourself. So I love this tool because it's so easy to use. UI is nice, reasonable prices, and so easy to set up.
Awesome. So let's see here. Got a couple of phrases. Great. Eddie Lewis. Awesome. Simon, I 100% agree with you. AI doesn't know what the algorithms are, so it can't help you rank without knowledgeable SEO and prompting. Because if your prompts suck, then the output's going to suck as well. Garbage in, garbage out. Infographics add so much more value of the article. Another way you could optimize, if you will, a page, you put a video on there, because a lot of people, most people, in fact, are more drawn to watching a video versus reading. Number 2 search engine, I believe it is now, is YouTube, TikTok. So, I mean, video is a big factor. So if you embed a video on it, you can also do some tactics as well, some gray hat tactics. But, for keyword stuffing. But overall, just putting a video on there, let's say it's a 2-minute video, you keep me on there for 2 minutes instead of 30 seconds, then Google looks at that and goes, well, this person's an authority on this subject or whatever. So it helps. So, those sort of things. So is this your first time you'll be in Manila?
Third time.
Yeah. You wound up moving back. You're moved officially back to Thailand So when did you decide to do that? Because you went to Thailand, you visit with your buddies, you came back, then you got depressed because the nasty ass weather in the UK. And then because if you haven't been in Thailand, you haven't been in the Philippines, usually it's bright, sunny islands. And for the single men, beautiful women to look at, I guess. And, life it slows down. It's perfect for a digital nomad on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
But besides all the benefits, what made you want to move back to Thailand?
For me, it was about freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely. I think the way that I see it, life in Thailand is extremely convenient for me to be able to grow every single day towards the goals that I have. And that's really important, right? Is to live in a country where you feel the freedom to be able to do that every single day. It's very convenient and there's no friction against you, right? So in England, I don't know I've never been to the US, so I don't know what it's like, but I feel like in England, the West is sort of falling behind a little bit, especially compared to these developing countries, like, for example, Thailand, like, for example, Philippines, where everything is new, everything's been built recently, and life is very optimized. And that's what I love about it, because if I can make everything in my life very simple, then I can focus all my mental energy into my business and go really far just in one direction without any friction or any mental energy wasted.
And then Matt talks about like Chiang Mai, is the infrastructure. And then, for example, and we're talking about starting this over here in Manila as well, because I've talked to Matt about it. But in Chiang Mai, you have the SEO community, and they literally meet every week.
Yeah,
that's mastermind where you can talk to not just an SEO, but you're talking to people that are like Matt Diggity, Kyle Roof, a bunch of other people that have a load of not just experience in SEO, but in business. And they're constantly testing and they're very friendly versus a lot of times it seems like in other parts of the world, it's more of a pissing contest. Honestly, from an American point of view, that's the way it seems like for me. So over here, we don't really have a meetup. So we're talking about even doing a meetup in which we get together, network, and see who's testing what's working, what's not working, that sort of thing, and just meeting new people, So, I mean, that's one of the things I've seen that Thailand has besides the infrastructure and everything else. So, most of your employees, are they in-house, or are they abroad? Are they VAs or what? And from where are they, most of them located or based, if you even want to mention any of that?
Yeah, so the biggest part of our team is based in the Philippines, because most of the work involved, especially the operations side of the business, is it's a repetitive system, right? So we have VAs mostly in the Philippines who do that.
Awesome.
For most of our client-facing roles around Europe and US, mainly because of the time zones. The time zones is really good for clients who want to jump on calls, get questions answered quickly, that sort of thing. But it's a 100% remote company.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's a couple of questions a lot of people ask is like, this is actually going to be my main topic whenever I'm speaking at the conference. It's going to be why the Philippines. So I'll ask you that question. It's like, why the Philippines? Why not UK? Why not the United States? Why not Thailand? Why not India? What's the biggest thing that you like about working? Because I'm sure you've worked with other people. What's the biggest, if you will, benefit of working with Filipinos versus working with somebody else? And it's not always about the money, which is what everybody assumes.
It's a great question. Yeah. So for me versus England, for example, well, first of all, they speak great English, so that helps a lot. I find that culturally very easy to get along with, very friendly, good team dynamic as well. A lot of Filipinos working online as well, which helps a lot. Like, it seems to be way more remote workers from the Philippines than any other country, which is just fantastic. Like, really respect what they've done as a country.
Yeah.
Obviously, the cost of labor is relatively cheaper compared to, say, Europe or the US. And just some amazing talent there as well. Like some amazing people who have achieved great results in the company have come from the Philippines. Like, for example, I had
usually their work ethic is,
it's
totally
fantastic.
different. It's like my sister is actually in the hospital right now, and who's the nurse? Filipina. She introduces her to me and everything, and she's like, I told her, you're in good hands. You got a Filipino nurse, because their if you will, attitude and their general disposition is
Yeah.
totally different. Their work ethic is different. You
Yeah.
can go to certain parts, like for example, over here, I've never seen nothing like it, but they'll be like, you'll go to the mall, like we went today, right? Go to the mall today, and or yesterday, and it's packed on a Monday or Tuesday, and this middle of the day, not at night. And everybody would wonder, if you go in the States, it's not busy. It's people, but not busy. But over here, it's like a Friday night after work, and you'd wonder why. It's mainly because a lot of them work online after 5 or 6, 7 o'clock at night, and they're working on US based times, because most of them are digital entrepreneurs or VAs that work for themselves or work for call centers or BPOs, things of that nature. So, but that's generally the number one thing that you hit on is English is their first language. It is generally they all speak English. Their first language obviously is Tagalog, but they speak fluent English for the most part, depending on where you're getting them from and their work ethic. And then third is usually money, which is all the things you hit on. So when you come to the conference in Manila, it's going to be at the Winford Casino and Resort, September 23rd, 24th. But what are you actually going to, if you could give us a preview of what you're going to be speaking about, what is it that you're going to speak about, what you're going to cover? Simon, that's awesome. You have around 30 staff in our office in the Philippines. Philippines is great. Yes, it's amazing. We have a lot of agencies that will contact us for consulting and stuff, and because we have two or three places where you have home bases over here. So, but
Nice.
what what are you going to be speaking about?
So I'm going to speaking about how we've grown our sites with ChatGPT and AI and the case studies that we've worked towards. So we'll be talking about what we've achieved with AI, what we've learned, some actionable strategies and tactics that people can implement for their own SEO sites, and how to systemize the whole thing so that it's pretty much automated.
So, how to not only use it, but the other key word there that most people probably don't catch is systemize. Because the only way you're going to scale from a freelancer to an agency is with systems and systemizing things, especially if you're going to have 30 to 50 staff.
Yeah, exactly. Simple. One of the biggest things as well with systems is that you can create a predictable, simple system that runs like clockwork and produces predictable results.
So, and would you say that's a key factor when you're running your agency, is to get predictable results over and over and over again for your clients and not have to worry about, is it going to work this time or not work this time?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about results, making sure clients get the best possible results they can. And then also making sure that everything is simplified, right? So I don't know about you, but for me, when I first started working online, I would overcomplicate things.
It's very complicated when you
Yeah.
first start out.
Yeah, that's it. And it's really simple scales. And you make things seem easy, but actually planning ahead and making everything efficient is very difficult and time consuming, but
Yeah.
it pays off in the long run.
And that was one of the biggest things after probably the first year of coaching and consulting and getting things set up and everything else. That's when I developed the SOP system and got invested in several tools where you can literally, while you're doing, it's an AI tool, where you literally sit there and go, like you were just going to do your normal task, and it literally takes screenshots of everything you're doing and
So
creates
good.
an SOP
Love it.
for you. And I didn't find that until after a good year or so later. And so now everything we do, every single thing in the entire agency has an SOP.
That's it. The more you can create SOPs, the easier and more predictable everything is, and the easier it is to scale as well, right? Especially if you want to train 10 people in 1 week, you need the SOPs here. I think one of the other things as well is, I don't know if you've tried it, but Harper AI. So for me, I record a lot of YouTube videos, and for sure, it's Simon mentions he's watched some of those videos. So for sure, that is for the audience that follows me on YouTube, but it's also really useful for training my team. And then I can use Harper AI to extract an SOP from the transcript.
Yeah, and see, that's one of the things that's like, I generally, like with outsourced sharks, we'll have people come to us and they'll be like, they want us to do something that I don't have an SOP for. It'd be, let's say, backlinking. Because I have some backlinking SOPs, but I don't do a whole lot of backlinking. Citations and some local backlinks and local outreach, stuff like that. But nothing major. GSA, some money robot stuff, but nothing crazy. Powering up, boosters, stuff like that. But so someone comes to us generally, hey, I want you to do this. Okay, show me your SOP. And it's generally speaking a written SOP or a video SOP. And I ask them and say, so this is your SOP. And for me, and they'll always say, yes, that's my SOP. I say, well, I can tell you what your problem is with your VAs and in the past. That is not an SOP. The SOP for me is always, and the way I've always done it is, here's a written SOP, right? And then here's a video SOP. And I'll generally have the VA go through it, and they're going to make some mistakes. And then I do a walkthrough showing them where they made their mistakes. And then once they do that, then they generally get it right. But the problem is most people just want to give someone a written SOP or video SOP and think that these people are like Jesus and walk on the water. And that's never going to happen. And then when they have mistakes, they want to blame the VA. And generally speaking, it's 99.9% of the problem is always with the SOP or the person that gave them the SOP. So,
have you heard of problem inversion before?
No.
So sometimes the best way to solve a problem, like you say, is to look at what could go wrong. Or if you wanted to completely fail at this, how would you do it? Right. And then you invert the problem. Okay. So like, I would use a totally different software to the one you recommend. I would make up my own instructions. I would not follow this in order. And then by inverting the problem, you get a list of the mistakes you need to avoid. And actually that makes things a lot simpler. So I think
that's an interesting way. I mean, I had a teacher, one of the things he used to tell me, also kind of like a mentor on some aspects. And he told me, his name is John Downs, and he told me, he said, a lot of times you're doing something and nothing seems to be going right. And it's always this fucked up for whatever reason, excuse my language. But he said sometimes the best thing you can do is just throw it away. Start over.
Yeah, start again.
And a lot of people are so emotionally attached and sentimental to their work that they don't want to do that. And someone comes along and says, it's like divorce or a relationship, or you got to move somewhere. You're sentimentally attached to the results or what you thought was the relationship or what you thought you had, that you're unwilling to throw it all away and restart over again, which is 99% of the time what you need to do is restart over, and find out and grow from it, and then find out maybe where you made the mistakes at and be a better person and, develop better systems. It's why I'm constantly reading, constantly buying courses, constantly trying to learn from other people. It's because I do not know everything. I will never know everything. And I think we can all learn from other people. Like, what do you do to do this? It's one of the reasons I do like talking to people and interviewing people, is because it's like, what are you doing different than I'm doing? How can I get where you're at? If you were to give a lot of the people that will come to the conference too, maybe a lot of them are going to be Filipino, a lot of them are going to be, internationals. But if you were to give someone some advice on how to go from a freelancer on Upwork to an agency owner that owns a business, what would you advise?
So the first step would be hiring. And you don't have, that sounds scary to some people, but you don't have to go really crazy here. You know, just one hire is enough. And basically, what I would recommend is that you audit your time. You figure out where you're spending most of your time, because there's certain jobs we do more than others. For example, if you're a link
Let
builder,
me
you
stop you right there. When you say audit your time, because most of these things fly over some
might.
people's head, but when you say audit your time, would you suggest you walking around with a little notepad, or
So,
using maybe a voice note on your phone, or how would you go about doing it?
so the way that I still track my time every single day, and what I do, very basic, and like we were talking about before, keep it simple. So in a spreadsheet, Google Sheet, you have the date, the task you worked on, the day, and then how many minutes you spent on that task. And you, as you do that for like even just 7 days, you'll see a pattern of where you're spending most of your time and what position you should hire for first. So, for example, when I was a link builder, I would spend, when I was a freelance link builder, I would
So
spend most.
based off of that information is where you make your hiring decision.
Exactly. So for me, it was prospecting, right? I would spend maybe 3-4 hours every single day looking through a spreadsheet, trying to filter out the good prospects for link building for a client's campaign.
Mm,
And that's something I don't need to do. It's
yeah.
something, if you create a good SOP, like you were talking about before, as well as some mistakes to avoid, it's very easy to outsource for that, especially if you create a video and an SOP tutorial. And within a week of creating the SOP, I had someone full-time doing the
Nice.
work, and they worked really well.
Yeah,
But I think that's,
Matt talks about that too, is
yeah,
auditing your time and stuff. So I did an interview with him earlier this year, and he talked about that too. So, and it's, I've read about it in journaling and stuff like that. It's the same thing with everything, because most people, it's like, if you're not losing weight, or if you're not getting this done right in your life, why is it? What are you not doing? What are you missing? And a lot of times we think, well, I spend all this time, in this area, and you find out after you've done audited, you're not spending as much time in the areas you should be. Sales, marketing, email copy, stuff like that. Maybe you're spending it in managing or prospecting, when you could hire a VA with a good SOP, and you won't have to be doing that yourself anymore. And you can focus on the things that are actually producing sales and new clients, and other things that are going to be, if you will, the needle movers. It's kind of the same thing in SEO. It's like, in SEO, you want to focus on what moves the needle. Do I need to do GSEX cloud stacks? Do I need to do content? Do I need to do other various GMB postings and or Google business profile postings? What is moving the needle? And then eliminate the stuff that's not moving the needle, and focus on the stuff that's moving the needle.
that's the thing. And this always, the question always remains, right? Like, how do you spend your time productively and profitably? That's always the same question, but every single year, you'll know as well, like, the answer to that question changes constantly. Like for me, for example, last year, doing YouTube wasn't the best use of my time. Didn't get much traction, didn't get
I've
any.
noticed this year you've been pumping them out.
Yeah, 100%. Because
Before it was kind of like, yeah, they're there, but they're not, like, on a consistent basis. It's like, whenever I took it, like, I mean, everybody's noticed, but like the past year, I've barely been on YouTube. But the year to 2 years prior to that, I was pumping them out probably 2-3 a day.
wow.
And people were like, every time I wake up, you're live. I go to sleep, you're live. I go to take a bathroom break, you're live. So
Can
now
I ask you a
it's
question
took a
about that?
break, because you go through cycles where I do a bunch of stuff and get things done, and then I take a break. So yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask you a question about that YouTube? Because for me, creatively, it requires a lot of energy. Like,
Yes,
it's
it does.
100% worth it, 100% worth it, but it does require a lot of
Yeah.
energy. To produce 2 or 3 videos a day,
No, absolutely not.
how much coffee did you drink?
So I used to, at one point, I see, when I lived in the States, I didn't drink any coffee. Then I moved
Yeah.
over here, I started drinking about 10 cups of coffee.
Wow.
Now I'm down to about 2. I take multivitamins. I'm not like Chris. I don't drink energy drinks and stuff like that. Mads is getting me more towards I need to drink water, be healthier, stuff like that. But honestly, if I'm totally honest about why I did it, it was because I went, who's the top dogs in SEO? How many videos do they got? And how long did it take them to get there? And like Chris, he's been at it for 6 years. He's at 25, something like 20,000 subs. And then, Chase Rayner, he was at, I think he's done over 1,000. I mean, he's done thousands and he's deleted a lot of them.
He's a beast.
At one point he went, I'm just deleting my whole damn channel. Now he's actually just doing mainly shorts. You don't really see him doing a whole lot of lives. And he even has people come in and do some of his lives for him. I looked at Craig and I was like, well, how many does he do? And I was like, well, if you want to be, and this is, not saying I want to beat anybody or anything like that, but if you want to be on the level that these guys are on, you need to put in the work.
100%.
And what most people don't want to do, they look at work like it's a 4-letter word and they don't want to put in the work. So for me, I went, I'm going to put in the work. And I mean, for example, when I was doing YouTube like that, I was making over $2,000 a month just doing YouTube. Then I started I set up another channel after, I had, D. Evans, Mr. Daryl Evans. I read his book. I read a couple other books on YouTube.
Yeah.
My goal is not 100K subs. It's not 1 million subs and none of that stuff. Then I got into blogging or vlogging and just our trips. Cause like when you're in any part of Asia, like Philippines, we go island hopping in different places and people love that stuff. And so I started doing some of that, set up a separate channel and stuff. But now if I was to go back, like even now, like I'm doing interviews for the World of Search, and it's like, we're going to be doing 2 a week. And that's to introduce everybody to everybody and let everybody kind of get to know who's going to be out there. But it's like when I have right now on my SOPs, I have PowerPoints made up. See, back in the day, it was just me going through, doing my walkthroughs and that sort of thing. Now I actually have almost, let's say, 80 PowerPoints sitting, waiting for me to do videos.
Wow.
And those are all walkthroughs of my SOPs and my SOP system. So I actually have all my SOPs on a WordPress portal where if you log in, you can see all my SOPs. And,
awesome.
But so I have that, but I have all these. Now I prep things ahead of time. So for example, if I wanted to talk about how to set up a Facebook ad campaign, how to set up Google Analytics, how to set up a GMB, how to optimize a GMB, I have all those as PowerPoints, and I'll do a walkthrough of the PowerPoint and, that sort of thing. And it's all prepped. So it takes me less time now to do it because, for example, whenever I go to record, and I was recording, and most people don't know this, but whenever I went to record my videos, I would record on, let's say, a Saturday, about 15 videos on that day.
That's
and they were all 10 minutes or less because the YouTube optimization rate and everything, I wanted to keep everything under 10 minutes. 8 to 10 minutes is best for retention rates, CTR. I studied, the YouTube covers. I study what makes people, click on things, what makes people stay, and all the analytics, just like everybody does in regular SEO, I did in YouTube SEO. And so I did that, and then I would upload them all through the week. So it wasn't me being live every day. At one point, I was live every day, and that's when I got burnt out.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, you have to be careful with that.
Because you'll get burnt out. Then even when me recording it once a week, that was a pain in the butt, and it's a lot of work. And then at one point, I just, this when about a year ago is I took a break, like March of 2022, and just stopped. And even Craig reached out to me at one point. It's like a lot of times in business, when you're trying to develop a brand and you're developing your business, you'll get burnt out. because of the sheer fact that it's only you and the business is in my wife's name and everything like that. But I'm the one pushing out and training and consulting and everything and trying to push the VAs and our employees to the next level. It's like I'm constantly trying to train them to be better.
It's a lifestyle, isn't it? You know,
Yep.
like from the minute you wake up to the minute you sleep, you're thinking about it, even if you're not working.
Yep.
It's there.
It's constantly, it's like, how can you do things better? It's like even today I had a lunch meeting, and lunch meeting is like, we could start the SEO weekly meeting with the SEOs in here. How can we talk, about case studies and different things and help other people versus just keep it all to yourself?
Yeah.
Because my goal right now is honestly help other people that are up and coming and, improve, if you will, the SEO community as much as we can, especially over here as well. Because for me, it's like, most SEOs, they'll do the work. Some of them do the work, but majority of them, outsource it. And they outsource it to the Philippines. They outsource it to India. So for me, it's like, how can I put a spotlight on the Philippines and bring people, from abroad, Craig, all you guys.
Yeah.
That's what, and then Kirk, Kirk and me, we've been together. I've known Kirk for almost, let's say, 2.5 years or so. And then we got together and we were going to only meet for the conference. And that became our relationship started with that. And it was never an intended, we're going to start a VA agency together. It was, we're going to start in, the conference. And then that became, let's see if this will work. And then within less than 30 days, we had 100 clients. So, but me and Kirk, he's my number one man when it comes to outsource sharks and stuff. So, and I work very close with them. And it's like the biggest thing I would say if you're going to work with Filipinos is the culture. There's a lot of different things that's different. Especially, okay, let's just for example, you're from the UK. What's a cultural difference you think from the UK to the Philippines or the Filipino people?
I mean, even myself, when I was working in England as an employee at my old jobs, I would say there's a certain level of entitlement there. Like we don't have the tables are turned a little bit, in fact, in terms of like you feel like you're owed something from your employer, if that makes sense. So for me, I never really had the work ethic or the dedication when I was working for someone else. Whereas when I see some of my team members from the Philippines working, like extremely hardworking, extremely dedicated, online every day, and I have so much respect for them for that.
Yeah, over in the States, it's kind of the same way. It's like I used to, I remember hear people complain about foreigners that would come to the States and they'd be like, well, they're coming over taking their jobs and doing this and doing that. And it's like they bust their ass. They come over here with nothing.
Yeah.
And you're complaining because of, I don't know, the weather's not right, or it's too rainy, or it's too hot, or it's too cold, or whatever. And they've been through a lot of crap. I mean, it seems like when a typhoon hits, they're still trying to figure out how to, work and how to do things and how to go on. And they're the happiest people I've ever met, no matter what.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
So they tell them, say, whether a few things they do, like Joy Coy, it's like we dance, we eat, and we sing.
They definitely sing.
Karaoke.
100% karaoke. Yeah.
But yeah, I look forward to meeting you finally at World of Search here in Manila. It's going to be September 23rd through 24th, guys. If you have not got your tickets, get your tickets at the SEOmovement.com. And if you want to, go over to Julian's website. You can also, he does have a free ebook. He also has his YouTube channel. You can go over there, but if you go on his actual website, you can also see and get his free ebook on building backlinking and link building mastery, and you can get that for free. He also has his own SEO link building mastery course. So he talks about building white hat backlinks for ranking on Google. So just go over and check out. It's at juliangoldie.com. It's juliangoldie.com. And till next time, man, we will see you guys soon. And I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible at Manila, the World of Search SEO conference. And I'll see you there, Julian. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I have so many SEOs that hate me and say that I'm stealing their methods. They bitching and cry, labeling me SEO black hat. I was a nobody, now I'm at the top. Most wanted, most loved, bad business owners, and hated by most SEO opponents. You think you're an SEO god, but you're an SEO fraud. Guess I'm the SEO devil, shouting fuck the SEO guys. White hat SEO doesn't make sense, going with the goody goodies. Up in heaven dressed in white, I like black Tims, I like black hoodies. Fake SEOs up there probably have me on some real straight shit. No sleeping all day, no getting my dick licked. Hanging out with the goody two shoes, lounging in paradise, whole shit. Fuck that shit, I wanna use CT, y'all, and get some green geo grids. Homie,